Sir, live has been started. Okay, sir, শুরু করছি.
Okay, definitely.
Good evening to all. Today we are on the last day of our lecture series, that is 12th day, lecture number 25. Professor Gourab Das sir will lead today's whole session. Now I hand over the charge to Sukanya Bhattacharya ma'am for Gourab Das sir's brief introduction. Hope this lecture series will be helpful for all undergraduate students, and many thanks to all the resource persons for giving their valuable presentations. We much appreciate your help and cooperation in this case. Thank you. Shukunna, please.
Thank you. Good evening. The session will be taken by Gourav Das sir. Gourav Das sir is presently serving as an assistant professor, Department of Commerce, Vidyanagar College since 14th November 2019. He had previously served in different institutions in varying capacities. He had completed his MCom, B.Ed, MBA, PGDT, and is currently pursuing PhD from the Department of Commerce, University of Calcutta. He has wide-ranging interests in tourism and service sector, social audit, CSR, and corporate governance. He has published 12 papers in different peer-reviewed journals and 15 chapters in edited books. He has further presented 10 papers in different national and international level seminars. And he is also member of various learned societies. So now I request you, sir, to please take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Supanna and Rona. And I hope so I'm audible clearly.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
And I'm very much thankful to KBSSI for giving me such an opportunity to give a lecture for the UG courses. So first I request Shukonna to present my share, to present PPT. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll start. Huh? Okay.
Yes, sir, you
So
can start.
today, what I plan that I'll streak the lecture on basically the business law. Now, business law is one of the very important part of our BCom curricula. Now, in business law, there is two particular act which is known as Negotiable Instrument Act. Another one is very much important, which is Consumer Protection Act. We are going to start with the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. This is specially the instrument that we are going to use in our business that we are going to discuss in this case. Next slide, please. Now, if we discuss what is the concept of negotiable instrument, now whenever we discuss the term negotiable instrument, first of all we have to utilize a thing negotiable. Negotiable mane ki? Negotiable means transferable by delivery, and the word instrument means written document. অর্থাৎ আমাদের যদি বলি নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট কি, সেটা বলতে বোঝায় যে কোনো একটা রিটেন ডকুমেন্টেশন যেটা ট্রান্সফার করা যায়, একে অপরের থেকে দিতে ট্রান্সফার করা যায়, মানে কোনো ফেভার কারোর ফেভারে ট্রান্সফার করা যায়। The term negotiable instrument literally means, এটার অ্যাকচুয়ালি বলা হয় a written document which create right in favor of somebody and freely transferable by delivery. অর্থাৎ এটা একটা পিস অফ পেপার যেখানে কোনো একজনকে টাকা দেবার বা কোনো অর্থ প্রদানের একটা রাইট দেওয়া হয়, যেই ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টের মাধ্যমে যেটাকে নেগোসিয়েশন বা নেগোশিয়েবল ট্রান্সফার করা যায়। এইটা সব থেকে বড় ইম্পর্টেন্ট পার্ট ইন কেস অফ নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট। তার মানে ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট which can be transferable, যে ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টের মাধ্যমে আমরা অর্থের আদান প্রদান করতে পারি, একজনের থেকে অন্যজনের অর্থ ট্রান্সফার করতে পারি। দিস ইজ নোন অ্যাজ নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট। প্লিজ নেক্সট স্লাইড। Now, whenever we use the term negotiable instrument, now we are coming the proper definition. According to section 13 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, a negotiable instrument means negotiable instrument কোনগুলো? A promissory note, a bill of exchange or check payable either to order or to bearer. Now, order to bearer মানেটা কি? আইদার এটা অর্ডার করা হয়, আদেশ করা হয়, ইউ হ্যাভ টু পে অর ইউ উইল গেট ইট মানি, অর বেয়ারার মানে যে ওটাকে শো করবে টাকাটা তাকে দেওয়া হবে। এবারে আমরা বলতে পারি কি আর নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট ইজ আ সাইন ডকুমেন্ট, অর্থাৎ এই যে টাকা দেবার তিনটা জিনিস আমরা বললাম, ফার্স্ট অফ অল প্রমিসারি নোট, বিল অফ এক্সচেঞ্জ অ্যান্ড চেক, এই তিনটে জিনিস যখন আমরা একটা সাইনিং ডকুমেন্ট, এই তিনটের মধ্যে এটা অর্থ দেবার মানে amount should be payable either to order or to bearer. In these two cases, in these two way, they can transfer the money through this instrument from one person to another person. Next slide, please. Now, if we just think about the features of negotiable instrument, we are not right now, I am not talking about the any kind of check or bill of exchange, whatever. It is the different kinds of bill of exchange. Just whenever we discuss bill of exchange, I'm just concentrating on bill of exchange. What is the features? Number one, it should be written and signed. This means any kind of negotiable instrument, it's maybe check, it's maybe promissory note, whatever may be, that should be written and that should be signed by the proper person. It should be freely transferable. This means this kind of instrument can be transferred from one person to another person freely. একজনের থেকে অন্যদিকে খুব ইজিলি ট্রান্সফার করা যায়। Title of the holder free from all defect. This means those who hold the particular title, the title there should not be any defect. টাইটেলের মধ্যে কোনো রকম ডিফেক্ট বা কিছু থাকবে না। নেক্সট, রিকভারি। হোয়াট ইজ দ্য কজ অফ রিকভারি? রিকভারি মিনস আমি টাকাটা কখন পাচ্ছি। দিস মিনস আমি অ্যামাউন্টটা সরি আমি অ্যামাউন্টটা কখন কিভাবে রিকভার করব। দিস মিনস এই অ্যামাউন্টটা কিভাবে অন্য বা আমার ইট শুড বি who is liable to pay money, how we are getting money, all these things should be there. Now presumption, it always is subject to certain presumption. There will be applicable unless contrary is proved. This means এখানে কিন্তু এটা certain, everything should be very much certain, and it should be payable to order or bearer, যেটা আমরা ডেফিনেশনেই পড়েছিলাম। whenever we are going to pay this one, this means a promissory note, bill of exchange or check, whatever, either it is payable to order, which is expressed to be so payable, or which is expressed to be payable to a particular person, or a person, in case of it should be bearer, it means which is expressed to be so payable or on which only or the last endorsement is an endorsement in bank. তার মানে আইদার আমি যে মানুষটা নিয়ে আসছে তাকে দিয়ে দিচ্ছি, বা তাকে অর্ডার দেওয়া থাকছে যে ওই পার্টিকুলার ব্যক্তিকে বা যেটাকে ধারণ করে থাকবে তাকে আমরা ওই অ্যামাউন্টটা বা অর্থটা প্রদান করি। নেক্সট, নেক্সট টাইপস অফ নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট। আমরা ডেফিনেশনেই বলেছিলাম যে এখানে তিনটে টাইপ। নাম্বার ওয়ান প্রমিসারি নোট, যেটা একটা হচ্ছে বিল অফ এক্সচেঞ্জ, একটা হচ্ছে চেক অ্যান্ড হুন্ডি। যদিও আমরা এই হুন্ডি ব্যাপারটাকে এখানে ইগনোর করে যাব, আমরা উই আর অনলি কনসেন্ট্রেটিং অন প্রমিসারি নোট, বিল অফ এক্সচেঞ্জ, চেক। and bill of exchange and check, these two are very much popular to you people, because already what is check, what is bill of exchange, everything you have class from very beginning level, from class 11 level, you know these two things very well. Maybe in certain cases promissory note is not very much clear to you. We are going to discuss promissory note in this particular class. Now this promissory note, bill of exchange and check, these three are the main types of negotiable instrument, which we are going to discuss in details in our next slide. Please come, next slide. Now, what is promissory note? Suppose I just give an example. Suppose you take a loan of rupees 5,000 from your friend Parth. You can make a document stating that you will pay the money to Partho or the bearer or demand, or you can mention the document that you would like to pay the amount after 3 months. This means right now you will pay the money whenever the Partho is going to ask you, or after a particular time period, you are going to pay back the money. You will pay back the money. So this means এখানে দুটো জিনিস, আইদার পার্থর অন ডিমান্ডে তুমি পেমেন্ট করছো, বা তুমি লিখে দিচ্ছ কি যে আমি এই পার্টিকুলার 3 মাস 4 মাস হোয়াটএভার এর মধ্যে পেমেন্ট করব। দিস ডকুমেন্ট ওয়ান সাইন্ড বাই ইউ, যখন তুমি এটা সাইন করছো, ইট শুড বি ডিউলি স্ট্যাম্পড, এটা প্রপারলি স্ট্যাম্প করা হচ্ছে এবং তুমি পার্থকে দিয়ে দিচ্ছ, ইটস বিকাম আ নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট। অর্থাৎ তুমি সাইন করছো, এটা স্ট্যাম্প করছো এবং এটা তুমি যার টাকাটা পাবে তাকে লিখে দিয়ে দিচ্ছ যে হ্যাঁ আমি এই তারিখে বা এই সময়ের মধ্যে টাকাটা দেব, তখন ওই ডকুমেন্টেশনটা ইট বিকামস আ নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট। নাও there is another one that Partho can personally present it. This means Partho নিজেই টাকা নিতে পারে, or before you for payment, or a document that can be shifted or given to any other person to collect money on his behalf. This means আমি কোনো জিনিস নিজে নিয়ে আসতে পারি, or আমি কাউকে বলে দিলাম তুমি আমার ওই জিনিসটা নিয়ে এসো, that can be done. He can endorse it somebody else name, who in turn can endorse it further till the final payment is made. This means suppose আমার থেকে কেউ টাকা পেতো, আমি এটা তাকেও এন্ডোর্স করতে পারি, বলে দিলাম তার নাম লিখে আমি নিজে সাইন করে এন্ডোর্স করে দিলাম। অর্থাৎ আমার জিনিসটা যেটা আমার কাছে আছে, I can give it to someone else, এভাবে that until up to the final payment this particular instrument can be transferred from one person to another one by one. This particular type of things is known as promissory note. This means it is a promise to pay. You are making a promise that you will pay that much of money to a particular person on that particular time. This instrument is known as promissory note. Next slide, please. Now, see the definition. Right now, we are giving a concept. We are giving you an example. Right now, we are giving the definition. Section 4 of the Negotiable Instrument Act, Section 4 কি বলছে? It defines promissory note as an instrument in writing, not being a bank note or currency note. এটা কিন্তু currency note নয়, দেখবে currency note বা আমরা bank noteও লেখা থাকে I promise to pay. It is not like that. It's an instrument in writing. এটা লিখিত, containing an unconditional undertaking. Now there should be no condition within it. এই ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টের মধ্যে কোনো কন্ডিশন নেই, আনকন্ডিশনাল আন্ডারটেকিং, সাইন্ড বাই দ্য মেকার, যে লিখছে সেই সাইন করছে, টু পে আ সার্টেন সাম অফ মানি অনলি টু or to order of a certain person or to bearer of the instrument, either কোন একটা পার্টিকুলার পারসনকে or যে ওটাকে নিয়ে আছে, যে ধারণ তার কাছে আছে ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা, তাকে পেমেন্ট করার। This instrument is known as promissory note. I'll repeat, যার কাছে আছে, it is an unconditional undertaking. It should be signed by maker and it should be pay a sum of money to a particular person order to pay to a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. This is known as promissory note. Next slide, please. See, it is a specimen how this is known as promissory note. How the promissory note look like. See, this is a simple specimen that on DC, on demand, I promise to pay Ramesh, son of this, a sum of 10,000 for value ato. Now someone is going to sign, there should be a stamp, date is given, everything. This kind of things is known as promissory note. এটা হচ্ছে promissory note এর একটা definition বা একটা example বলতে পারো, এরকম দেখতে হয়। আরো অনেক রকমের জাস্ট আমি একটা নরমাল এক্সাম্পল দিয়েছি বা একটা নরমাল পিকচার দিয়েছি how it looks like. Okay, I hope so it should be clear that promissory note কিভাবে লেখা হয়। Next slide, please. Now, I am talking about the promissory note. Now, what are the parties? This means kara promissory note লিখবে, কে পাবে, it is all about. Now, the maker or drawer. This means the person who make this one, this person is known as the maker or drawer. যে তৈরি করছে, যে লিখছে, যে বলছে আমি তোমাকে promise to pay আমি দেব, this particular person is known as maker or drawer. Okay. Next, the payee, the person to whom the amount is payable. The person to whom the amount is payable. In যাকে পেমেন্ট করব সে হচ্ছে পেই, and the endorser, the person who endorsed the note in favor of another person. যে একজন অন্যকে যখন সেটা এন্ডোর্স করে দিচ্ছে, দিয়ে দিচ্ছে, এটা হচ্ছে এন্ডোর্সার, আর যাকে দেওয়া হচ্ছে সে হচ্ছে এন্ডোর্সি. So this means this kind of generally আমরা দুটো পার্টি, first two party they should be very important. Number one, the maker and the pay, যে লিখছে and যে পেমেন্ট করছে. These two are the very important part. And endorse will come if only if there is a question of endorsement. If there is no endorsement, there is no question of endorser, there is no question of endorsing. The first two part thing, the primarily, which is maker or drawer and the payee, these two are the very important part or important parties associated with promissory note. Next slide, please. Now we are coming to the features of promissory note. So if you go through the features of negotiable instrument very well, automatically you can find out the features of negotiable instrument and the features of promissory note. Somehow it should be equal. See the first one, promissory note must be in writing. There should be properly stamped. Second, it must contain an undertaking or promise to pay. We are promised that we will pay. The promise to pay shall not be conditional. The first three things. Number one, it should be writing, it should be signed, there should be promise to pay, and whenever there is a promise to pay, there should not be conditional. This means it should be unconditional. So these three are the main features. Next slide, please. There is more features are there. Next slide, please. See, the parties to a promissory note, this means maker and payee should be there. As I have told you earlier, there should be a certain money. This means the how much you have to pay, this should be certain. The pay, and there should be pay, not up maru, like if you want to like the write that I will pay that book, I will pay you fish. All these things is no, it is not a promissory note. Whenever there is a promissory note, there should be money should be involved. This means you have to pay money only. There should not be any kind of things in kind. টাকাই দিতে হবে, টাকা ছাড়া বা অর্থ ছাড়া অন্য কোনো জিনিস দিয়ে প্রমিসরি নোট লেখা যায় না. See, a promissory note may be payable on demand, that we are discussing from the very beginning, that either it should be payable on demand or it should be payable on, or you can say it should be on bearer. These two ways we can pay the promissory note. Now, whenever we are paying the sum, it is mentioned over there, the sum payable must be certain and capable of being made certain. This means ami kon figure ta pay korchi, what is the calculation, everything there should be very much clear. The amount should be certain. Next slide, please. Now, after that, we will discuss about the bill of exchange. What is bill of exchange? Suppose Rajiv has given a loan 10,000 to Samir. Rajiv Samir ke loan diyeche, যেটা সামিরকে ফেরাতে হবে. Now Rajiv has also give some money to Tarun. রাজীবকে আবার কি করতে হবে, তরুণকে কিছু টাকা দিতে হবে. In this case, Rajiv can make a document directing Samir to pay the payment 10,000 to Tarun on demand and after the expiry of period. Now see, this document is known as bill of exchange. Why? Because it is transferred from one person to another person. This is the concept of bill of exchange. Bill of exchange, basically what is this? Section 5 deals with that. Bill of exchange is an instrument in writing containing, again, it is containing an unconditional order signed by the maker, directing a certain person to pay a certain sum of money, or either or to order to a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. See, that again the same thing. This means the bill of exchange, again, it is an instrument. It should be writing. It should be in writing. it should be signed properly, it should be there should be unconditional order, it should be signed by the maker. If there is a direction that you have to pay that much of money to that person, again, either the person you have, it is the order that you have to pay that money to a particular person or the bearer of the instrument. Either কোনো একটা particular person কে টাকা দিতে হবে বা যে ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা থাকবে যার কাছে তাকে টাকা দিতে হবে। This is known as bill of exchange, অর্থাৎ যখন একে অপরকে টাকা দেবে, this means একজন অন্যজনকে টাকা দিচ্ছে, সেটা আনকন্ডিশনাল অর্ডার বেতে লিখে দিচ্ছে, যেটা আমি ট্রান্সফার করতে পারি একজন মানুষের থেকে অন্যজন মানুষের কাছে। This system, this thing or this instrument, this is known as bill of exchange. Next slide, please. See, this is a way that how bill of exchange is going to write. Simple thing that after 5 months, that much of money pay Tarun or someone else, that you have to pay that much of money or for the value received. See, a very simple way, খুব simple way te this is letter লেখা, and it should be, and there should be একটু লিখিনি এখানে, it should be properly stamped, there should be signed. It is a specimen how you have to write. I mean, I should give in details that there should be a stamp, should be there should be signed, only then it is a valid document. Now see, if you just write this one, jodi simple eta lekha hoy, this is not a valid document. Only if there is a stamp properly, if it is properly stamped, if there is a valid signatory authority or signed, only then it becomes a proper document. Otherwise there is no use of any kind of instrument. It is a simple an example. This means in this way you can write only, but without, just like what I want to say, without sign, without stamp, that only writing cannot become a instrument. If there is properly signed, if there is properly stamped, only and only if that should become a instrument. Next slide, please. Now, what are the parties? Parties means who makes the order to making payment. Okay, the party who makes the order for making payment, this is known as drawer. Drawer means to whom the order to pay is made, jake amra order korchi, and the payee, the person to whom the payment is made. Now there should be different part. Suppose drawer drawee, একজন ড্র করছে, একজন সেটা রিসিভ করছে, there should be a different person. তোমরা এটা even I hope so in bill of exchange chapter you know this concept. And pay, who is paying? Pay means if it should be given endorsed to others, ultimately the person whom the payment is made, ultimately শেষ পর্যায়ে গিয়ে যার কাছে বিলটা আছে, যে টাকাটা পেল, সে হচ্ছে payee. In certain cases, payee should be from the if there is no question of endorsement, যাকে বিলটা দেওয়া হয়েছে, যে পেমেন্ট করবে, যে পাবে, সেখান থেকেই payee হয়ে যাবে. Clear? Next one. Next slide, please. Now we are coming to the features. Again, see, if you just remember the basic features of negotiable instrument, you can write the features of bill of exchange or promissory note. See, the first, it should be in writing, it should be duly signed, it should be properly accepted. আমি লিখলাম কিন্তু ড্রয়ার অ্যাকসেপ্ট করলো না, আমি টাকা পাবো, আমি লিখলাম যে আমাকে অন্যজন এত টাকা দেবে, সে বললো অ্যাকসেপ্টেড, আমি দেব, until or unless it is accepted by the drawee, যদি drawee এটাকে অ্যাকসেপ্ট না করে, it cannot be a bill of exchange. Drawee must be accepted, drawee should be given his acceptance, only then it becomes a bill of exchange, and it should be properly stamped as per Indian Stamp Act. But without stamp, যেটা প্রথমেই বলেছিলাম, without stamping there is no usage of at all. Next, it is an content and order to pay. যে প্রথম থেকে বলছি, it is a order to pay, and this order must be unconditional. There is no question of conditional. Condition should not be there. In case of payment, condition should not be there. The order must be pay money and money alone, যেটা বারবার করে বলছি, আমি অন্য কিছু লেখার কথা দিয়ে bill of exchange করতে পারি না। Whenever we think about the bill of exchange, you can give order that you have to pay money, only money. There is no question of in kind. Only cash or only money is allowed. And the sum payable mentioned must be certain. There should not be like that, I will pay you sum of money. No, there should be a specific amount. How much you will pay? 5,000, 10,000. The amount must be certain. Any uncertain amount should not be there. And the last one, the parties must be certain. This means কাকে payment করছি? There should be a specific one. আমি একে payment করছি. Ultimately, there should be a particular person, or I can say the person who holds the instrument. Either you have to, it is on demand or it is on bearer. Those who hold the thing, ultimately that particular person, we have to pay the money. So these are the main features of bill of exchange. Next slide, please. Now we are coming to the discussion of check. Check, it is quite easy thing for us because somehow the students of commerce, they are very familiar with check. আমরা check দেখেছি. The check is a bill of exchange. Now see the term, the check is a bill of exchange drawn on a specified banker. Now previously, whenever there is a bill of exchange, it is that I pay. But whenever there is a check can be a kind of bill of exchange, but there should be a specified banker. আমি কোন ব্যাংক থেকে যাচ্ছে, কোন অ্যাকাউন্ট থেকে যাবে, this should be informed properly. এটাকে স্পেসিফিক করে দেওয়া হয়, তবে এটা চেক। যদি বিল অফ এক্সচেঞ্জ থাকে তাহলে কোন অ্যাকাউন্ট, কোন ব্যাংক, এত কিছু থাকবে না, শুধু এই অ্যামাউন্টটা একে পেমেন্ট করবে এই তারিখে, this is enough. But whenever there is a question of check, there should be a specified banker is there. Because if I have an account from SBI, I can give you a check. And if you have account with Punjab Bank, you can drop the check, you can transfer the money from SBI to Punjab Bank. So this is a way of check. So this means the banker is specified over there. But in case of bill of exchange, there is no question of specification of banker. So according to section 6, a check is a bill of exchange drawn on a specified banker and not expressed to be payable otherwise than on demand. It includes the electronic image of a truncated check or a check in the electronic form. This means it is a way exchanging money, but exchanging money through banker. There is a specified banker there and not expressed to be payable otherwise than on demand. আমি কেউ চেকটা নিয়ে টাকা দিতে পারে if it is bearer check, but ultimately এটা এরকম হবে না যে আমি চেক না নিয়ে গেলেই টাকা পাবো, এটা হতে পারে না। Whenever you have to go to a particular bank, যখন আমি কোথাও ব্যাংকে যাব, আমাকে আমার ওই পার্টিকুলার অ্যাকাউন্টের একটা চেক নিয়ে যেতে হবে, যেটা দেখিয়ে আমাকে টাকা তুলতে হবে। আমি কোনো এমনি রুটিন নর্মাল ডকুমেন্টেশন, নর্মাল একটা বিল অফ এক্সচেঞ্জ নিয়ে গিয়ে টাকা তুলে নিয়ে আসবো, এটা পসিবল নয়। বিকজ ইন কেস অফ চেক, there is a specified banker. The other things remain the same. The other features are remaining the same, but only one thing is added. There should be a specified banker. Next slide, please. See, it is a way of talking on it. It has in this way, the check should be look like that. এখন আরো মডিফাই হয়েছে। আমি জাস্ট আপনি যে এরকম একটা নর্মাল থাকে, এখন দেখবে ক্রস চেকটাকে আমি ইভেন আমরা ইজিলি অ্যাভেলেবল, যে একদিকে এখানে অ্যামাউন্ট দেওয়া থাকে, এভরিথিং শুড বি দেয়ার, চেক নাম্বার ইজ দেয়ার, নেম ইজ দেয়ার, এখন বারকোড দেওয়া থাকে, all these things should be there. This should be a specimen of check. Next slide. Now see, we are coming to the features. Whenever we are again see, it should be written and signed. তুমি ভেবে দেখো, when there is a check should be right. If there is nothing is written in the check, there is no value. If there is no sign in the check, there is no value. This means first of all, it should be written, it should be signed, it should be an unconditional order. You can't say আমি চেক দিচ্ছি, তুমি গিয়ে আগে তোমাকে টাকা পেমেন্ট করতে হবে, তবে তুমি টাকা পাবে। This kind of order is not like that. It should be unconditional. No condition is there. Specified amount. In case of check, the amount is mentioned. If it is written 12,000, banker will not give you 12,001 or else 11,999. Bank will give you the specific amount 12,000. এক টাকা বেশিও দেবে না, এক টাকা কম দেবেও না। Whatever amount is written, bank will give you that much of money. Pay is always certain. That if I've written that pay Mr. A, so on that case, Mr. A will receive money. If it is, I will tell you later on that if it is a cross check, only that particular person will give the money, receive the money. No other person is able to receive the money. Payable on demand. If whenever it is demand, this means if you have a check, go to the bank, you ask for the money, they will give you the money. So the amount is payable on demand and properly stamped. Stamp should be there. Now in this case, properly stamped means what? I just want to mean that if you have a bank account with SBI, then you have to write a check of SBI check. You cannot write a check of Allahabad Bank or any other bank and go to SBI, say, give me some money. No, it is not possible. যদি আমার অ্যাকাউন্ট থাকে SBI, আমাকে আর একটা অ্যাকাউন্ট থাকে সাপোজ পাঞ্জাব ব্যাংকে, আমি পাঞ্জাব ব্যাংকে চেক লিখে SBI কে বলতে পারবো না যে আমাকে টাকাটা দিন। No, I just properly stand means I want to use this the term properly stem in this way, that you have to use the proper banking check the proper way. In these are the features of check. Next slide. Now, types of check. It is open check. Either it should be cross check, it should be bearer check, it should be order check. Now, whenever we are discussing the crossing check, when we different types, different kind of crosses check are there, we are discussing one by one. Next slide, please. See, open check. What is open check? It is possible to get cash over the counter of the bank. Receive it payment from, see, I'll give you a check, go to the bank, show the check, submit the check. You have to sign, maximum you have to sign, banker will give you the money. Suppose I have written that pay to Mr. A and Mr. B got the check, went to bank, he claimed that I am A, give me the money, bank will give it the money. Because this is open, nothing is mentioned over there. Because it is not possible for the banker, who is Mr. A, who is Mr. B. So who hold the particular check, he or she is going to receive the money. So this is a thing, the open check. It should be open, nothing is mentioned. Cross check. Cross check means you will see that in certain check, একদম কোণে আমরা এটা ক্রস করে দিই, দুটো লাইন টেনে দিই। Why? Whenever there is a cross check, যদি চেকটা ক্রস হয়, it means only that particular person have any kind of bank account, only then the amount is transferred from my bank account to that bank account only. No other person cannot receive anything. This means it is not very easily non negotiable. It is not negotiable. আমি যদি মিস্টার এ কে একটা চেক দিই, ক্রস চেক, এবং সেই চেকটা এ বি কে বলে তুমি টাকা তুলে নিয়ে এসো, not possible. Because whenever I make it cross check, it means it is not negotiable. Only Mr. A can receive the money. None other than Mr. A are able to receive that money. It is another kind of check which is known as cross check. Next slide, please. Bearer check. Bearer check is what? It is payable to any person who present it for payment. As I told you, that আমার একটা চেক আছে, চেকটার মধ্যে শুধু আমার নাম লেখা আছে, চেকটা পকেট থেকে পড়ে গেল, যে কেউ ব্যাংকে নিয়ে চলে যায় টাকা দিয়ে দেবে। It means bearer. Bearer means যে টাকার চেকটা নিয়ে যাবে, who hold the check, তার নামে টাকা ট্রান্সফার হবে। A bearer check can be transferred by mere delivery and require no endorsement. কোনো এন্ডোর্সমেন্টের দরকারই নেই, যে নিয়ে যাবে সেই পাবে। ব্যাংকের কাউন্টারে নিয়ে যাও, you will get the check. An order check is what? An order check is one which is payable to a particular person. In such a check, the word bearer may be cut or cancelled and the word order may be written. আমি bearerটা কেটে order লিখে দেওয়া মানে হচ্ছে ওই ব্যক্তিকে দেওয়ার জন্যই আমি অর্ডার দিচ্ছি। আমি অর্ডার করছি, you please pay the money to that particular person, not any other person. So whenever I cross the word bearer and write or cancel the word bearer and write it should be order, this means I make a specific one that you have to pay, or someone is going to receive the particular amount. Now other person can receive the check, the amount. Sorry. Next slide. Now, what is the basic difference between bill of exchange and promissory note? There is a some difference. Though there is a, if you go to the features, you will find out that there is not very much so much differences are there. But technically there is certain kind of differences are. যদি আমরা দেখি আমরা দেখতে পাবো না যে ফিচার্স এর দিক থেকে দেখো, বৈশিষ্ট্যের দিক থেকে দেখো, কোনো সেরকম ডেফিনেশন নেই বা ডিফারেন্স নেই। বাট whenever আমরা যদি একটু মাইনিউটলি দেখি বা টেকনিক্যালি দেখি, কিছু ডিফারেন্স আমরা পাই কার, বিল অফ এক্সচেঞ্জ আর প্রমিসারি নোট। নেক্সট স্লাইড। See, I'm not asking about that meaning. I'm directly come to the second one, because meaning, you know what is the definition, it is written. What is all about? Now, it is the order to pay the money that is due, and it is a promise to pay the money. Now, bill of exchange means you order that you pay, and promissory note means you promise, yes, I will pay. Issued by, in bill of exchange, which creditor is issued, but in case of promisor, debtor. This means from someone I receive money, this particular debtor is this, yes, I promise I will pay. So in first case, in case of bill of exchange, a creditor, that is why there is the order. But in case of promissory note, debtor is issued, going to issued by debtors. That is why debtors is giving me the promise, yes, I will pay. There is no tension. Acceptance. In case of bill of exchange, acceptance is mandatory. Whenever I discuss bill of exchange, I'll tell you that without acceptance, there is no usage of bill of exchange. Acceptance should be there. Acceptance na থাকলে bill of exchange হতেই পারে না। But if there is a promissory note, there should not be such a kind of note. This means promissory note এর ক্ষেত্রে এরকম কোনো নিয়ম নেই, কিন্তু bill of exchange এ acceptance টা mandatory. Without acceptance, bill of exchange হতে পারে না। Next slide. Parties. Now, as I have told you earlier, that drawer, drawee, payee, and in case of promissory note, drawer and payee. This means in case of drawee, see the term drawee, there is no question of drawee in case of promissory note. That is why I'll tell you, in case of bill of exchange, acceptance is important. যেহেতু এখানে তিনটে পার্টি, অ্যাকসেপ্টেন্স ছাড়া এটা হয় না, বাট ইন কেস অফ প্রমিসারি নোট it's accepted. Application of copies. Bill of exchange can be drawn in copies, but promissory note cannot be drawn in copies. And case of dishonor, if bill is dishonored, a notice is given to should be given to all parties. If there is a dishonor, যদি ওটা dishonor হয়, প্রত্যেকটা পার্টিকে নোটিস করতে হবে। বাট ইন কেস অফ প্রমিসারি নোট, ইফ কেস অফ ডিসঅনার, নোটিস ইজ নট শুড নট বি ইস্যুড। নোটিস দেওয়ার কোনো প্রয়োজন নেই। নেক্সট স্লাইড। নাও সি, আমরা এন্ডোর্সমেন্ট নিয়ে কথা বলছিলাম, যে আই এন্ডোর্স দ্য থিং, আমি বিল অফ এক্সচেঞ্জ আই গিভ টু সামওয়ান। সো নাও উই আর ডিসকাসিং দ্য ফ্যাক্ট, what is endorsement? Endorsement is very much important. The act of a person who is a holder of a negotiable instrument in signing his or her name on the back of the instrument, thereby transferring title or ownership, is an endorsement. মানেটা কি বলছি দেখো, very clear, that a person who is holder of the negotiable instrument, if I am the holder, I signing my name back of the instrumenটের পেছনে আমরা সাইন করি, and transfer the ownership to someone, আমি সেটা অন্য কাউকে দিয়ে দিচ্ছি, this is known as what? This is known as endorsement. এভাবে আমি একটা জিনিস একে অপরকে দিয়ে দিতে পারি, this is known as endorsement. So in this way the endorsement can be made. এইভাবে কি করা যেতে পারে, এন্ডোর্সমেন্ট করা হয়, একজন অপরকে এন্ডোর্স করে, কোনো জিনিস একে অপরকে দিয়ে দিতে পারে। তো endorsement is one of the important part in case of negotiable instrument, or you can say bill of exchange. Next slide please. Now, type of endorsement, very important. First, blank endorsement, where the endorser sign his name only and it becomes payable or bearer. See, blank, আর কিচ্ছু নেই, this is blank endorsement. Next, full endorsement. Full endorsement means what? This means you are endorsing the full amount to someone. This means, sorry, the full thing. This means the sign writes the name of the person who will receive the payment. This means you are specifying. I just want to know you are specifying. Prothom, in case of blank, kaki দিচ্ছ লেখা নেই. But in case of full endorsement, whenever the endorser puts his sign and writes the name of the person, see the name of the person who received the payment, it is mentioned. So this is a basic difference, that whenever in case of blank, there is no question of you can give to, sorry, it is given to others. But in case of full endorsement, the specific person, the name of specific person is given over there. Next, restrictive. Restrictive means what? You restrict. That further negotiation is not possible. আটকে দিচ্ছ, দেখবে যখন রাস্তা দিয়ে আমরা যাই লেখা থাকে যেটা ওয়ান ওয়ে, ইট মিনস হোয়াট? দে রেস্ট্রিক্ট, যেটা করা যাবে না। The same thing, whenever you restrict that further negotiation is not possible, this is known as what? This is known as restricted endorsement. Partial means what? Which allowed transferring to the endorsee a part only of the amount payable of the instrument. দেখো ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট একটা অ্যামাউন্ট লেখা আছে, there should be an amount, and whenever there is the call of endorsement, only a part of the amount should be endorsed. একটা অংশ এন্ডোর্স করা হয়েছে, পুরোটা না। and conditional endorsing are there, what? Some condition is required. তুমি যখনই করছো এন্ডোর্সমেন্ট করা হচ্ছে, some kind of endorsement, some kind of condition, it is mentioned. কিছু কন্ডিশন দিয়ে দেওয়া হচ্ছে। This is known as what? This is known as conditional endorsement. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, meaning of holder. What is holder? Holder means, see, who legally obtains the negotiable instrument with his name entitled on it to receive the payment from the parties liable. This means যে কোনো ব্যক্তি যে কোনো ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট নিজের নামে ও নিজের অধিকারে রাখতে পারে এবং সে টাকাটাকে আদায় করতে পারে, সেই হচ্ছে হোল্ডার, যেটাকে বাংলায় বলি আমরা ধারক। According to section 8, negotiable instrument section কি বলছে? Now in this case, as this section is very much important. Sections, because if it is MCQ question, that the section will come. If there is 1 marks question, the section will come. So whenever, it is my request to all the students, whenever you go through it, please mention the section. And one thing, if you can write the proper section, you write. But if you are not able to memorize the section, don't write the wrong sections over there. There is no question of impression. Whole section লিখবে না, the impression একটু হয় না। If you know the right one, please write it down. But if you can't remember on that time in case of examination hall, no need to write. But it is preferable that it should be, you should write the section. A holder is a party who is entitled in his own name and has legally obtained the possession. This means a negotiable instrument তার কাছে possession, legally তার কাছে আছে, in the form of bill, maybe in the form of check, maybe in the form of bill of exchange, and ultimately he is liable to recover the money from the party. This means those who hold the bill, he can receive the money from the someone, যার কাছে বিলটা আছে সে অন্যের কাছ থেকে খুব ইজিলি সেটাকে টাকাটাকে উদ্ধার করতে পারে। This is known as holder. Next slide, please. Now we are discussing with the holder in due course. What is holder in due course? Suppose a person who acquired the negotiable instrument in good faith. Now this is a very important term, in good faith, for consideration before it becomes due for payment and without any idea of defective title of the party who transferred the instrument to him. তাহলে I'll just tell you one thing, the term good faith for consideration, ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট টার্ম। যখন একজন ব্যক্তি যে অবভিয়াসলি সে যখন এটা নিচ্ছে তাকে কিছু কনসিডারেশন দিচ্ছে, তাকে কিছু অধিক মানে এই বিলটা পাওয়ার জন্য বা এই ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা পাওয়ার জন্য সে কিছু দিয়েছে, এবং এই বিলটার মধ্যে কোন রকম ডিফেক্ট আছে এরকম সে মনে করছে, হি হ্যাভ আ গুড ফেথ যে এই বিলটার মধ্যে কোনো ভুল নেই, মানে এই বিলটা যেটা তোকে দেওয়া হয়েছে ইট ইজ ক্লিয়ারলি অ্যাবসলিউটলি কারেক্ট, দিস ইজ নোন অ্যাজ হোল্ডার ইন ডিউ কোর্স। অর্থাৎ যে বিলটা অন্যের কাছ থেকে এই ফান্ডে নিয়েছে কি কোনো কনসিডারেশন দিয়ে ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা পেয়েছে, নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা, এবং ইট ইজ ফুললি বিলিভ দ্যাট ইজ আ গুড ফেথ দ্যাট দেয়ার শুড নট বি এনি কাইন্ড অফ ডিফেক্টিভ টাইটেল হুইচ ইজ ইনক্লুডেড উইথ দিস ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট। কোনো ডিফেক্টিভ টাইটেল আছে এরকম বিশ্বাস করার কোনো কারণ নেই, সেই জন্যই সে বিলটা নিয়েছে। This particular person is known as holder in due course, which deals with the section 9 of the Negotiable Instrument Act. Next slide, please. What are the rights? Now, section 108 can file those who have the holder in due course. So, কি করতে পারে? ও সেই পার্টির এগেইনস্টে, সাপোজ সেই পার্টি টাকা দেয়নি, so he has the right, he can file any kind of suit in his own name against the parties who are liable to pay. This means he can make any kind of claim in front of the court of law. Section 20 deals with that. Good title, even though instrument was originally stamped but were incomplete instrument. Suppose it is an incomplete instrument, but whenever he received the goods, he received the instrument, there is a good faith. ও গুড ফেথেই নিয়েছে, জিনিসের মধ্যে কোনো ভুল নেই। The person who have signed and delivered the incomplete instrument cannot plead the against the holder in due course. সে বলতে পারে না কোনোদিন যে হোল্ডার ইন ডিউ কোর্স কে যে আমি ভুল জিনিস দিয়েছি বা দিয়ে দিয়েছি, এটা বলতে পারে না, কারণ তার কাছে ফুল রাইট আছে। হি ক্যানট সি দ্য টার্ম যে ইনকমপ্লিট ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা দিয়েছে, হি ক্যানট প্লিড ফর দিস, কারণ যে নিয়েছে you have a good faith যে there is no defect in the title. Section 46 deals with other parties who are liable to pay cannot claim that the delivery of the instrument was a specific purpose. এটা এই ক্লেমটাও কেউ করতে পারবে না অ্যাকচুয়ালি, the other party যে liable to pay, যে পেমেন্ট করে, যে is there is any specific purpose, যে এই ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা দেওয়া হয়েছিল only this specific purpose, otherwise এটা দেওয়া হবে না। No, that cannot be possible. That cannot be possible. Next slide. Again, section 36, every prior party to the instrument is liable to holder in due course till the instrument is satisfied. Until and unless it is satisfied, the prior party of the instrument is liable for this. They are liable until or unless the instrument is duly satisfied. কেউ ছেড়ে যেতে পারবে না। And section 42 said that acceptor cannot claim against a holder in due course that the bill in drawing a fake name. Acceptor যে ছিল সে বলতে পারবে না এটা ফেক নেমে ছিল, no, that cannot be possible. Section 42 gives this kind of advantages to the holder in due course. So whenever there is a holder in due course, he will get certain kind of advantages. These are the advantages. Section 53, he gives a good title to the instrument even though the title of the transfer is defective. There is maybe a defective, but holder in due course, whenever you receive, you have a good faith. Yes, it is a good title. I receive in case of I am giving consideration, and in this consideration I receive this one. So আমি কনসিডারেশন দিয়েছি এবং তার এগেইনস্টে নিয়েছি, আমি বিশ্বাস করেছি এটা করে এই টাইটেলে কোনো ভুল নেই, there is no defective, he can recover the full amount. সে ফুল অ্যামাউন্টটা রিকভার করতে পারবে। নেক্সট স্লাইড প্লিজ। I'll skip this one, please. Next slide. See, there is a difference between holder in due course and holder. Now see, আমি তো বলতে পারি স্যার it is a holder, holder যে নিয়েছে, holder in due course মানে সেও তো নিয়ে বসে আছে, তার ডিফারেন্সটা কোথায়? ফার্স্ট ডিফারেন্স দেখো, first difference, it is made by the act. Act পরিষ্কার প্রথমেই করে দিচ্ছে কি, সেকশন 8 বলছে they are defining holder, section 9 বলছে holder in due course. Consideration, in case of holder there is no consideration, যে হোল্ডার তার কাছে কোনো কিন্তু কনসিডারেশন ভ্যালু নেই, বাট হোল্ডার ইন ডিউ কোর্স সেই নেগোশিয়েবল ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা পেয়েছে ইন এক্সচেঞ্জ অফ কনসিডারেশন, after giving certain kind of consideration only then he get the title. So in this case, consideration, this means in case of holder in due course, consideration is very much important. Next, holder does not have the right to sue all the parties, but in case of holder in due course have this right. They can go and they can make a case in front of the court of law. Good faith, in case of holder there is no question of good faith, but in case of holder in due course, good faith is one of the important thing should be there, important part should be there. Without good faith, this instrument cannot be continued. The holder in due course cannot exist. Maturity, a person can become a holder before or after the maturity of the negotiable instrument, but in case of holder in due course, only before the maturity, because if the maturity, the bill is matured, the instrument is matured, there is no question of holder in due course. যদি ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টটা ম্যাচিওর করে যায়, আমি কেন টাকা নিতে যাবো আমি কনসিডারেশন নিয়ে? So if consideration, if there is a only because if only before the maturity of the negotiable instrument, this holder in due course or can be exist, not after the maturity. Next slide, please. Now, dishonor. What is dishonor? Dishonor means loss of honor or respect the instrument which is questioned on the part of the maker, payer, acceptor. আমি সোজা ভাষায় যদি বলি, একদম ইউজ দিতে যে on the time of payment I am not able to pay, dishonor. আমি অনার করতে পারলাম না। অনার মিন্স আমার যে পেমেন্ট করার কথা ছিল, আই প্রমিস করেছিলাম পেমেন্ট করব, আমি অর্ডার দিয়েছিলাম পেমেন্ট করব, আমি বলেছিলাম একটা চেক দিয়ে পেমেন্ট করব, ডিউ টু সার্টেন রিজন I have failed to pay the money. I just honor I cannot able to honor the negotiable instrument. Here, honor means I am not able to fulfill or not able to pay the sum of money to the particular person for the negotiable instrument. This is known as dishonor. আমি এই negotiable instrument রেসপেক্টে, এই ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট রেসপেক্টে ওই যে অ্যামাউন্টটা ছিল সেটা পেমেন্ট করতে পারিনি। The last line, if you go for the last line, the bill is presented for payment and payment is refused. Billটা পেমেন্ট করা হয়েছে, that please pay the amount, but ultimately refused. The amount is refused. This is known as dishonor of negotiable instrument. Next slide, please. Reason of dishonor. Now, reason of dishonor, there should be two reasons. Either there should be non-acceptance, এটা acceptance-এর জন্য, or there should be non-payment, পেমেন্ট হয়নি বলে। দুটো রিজনে ডিসঅনার হতে পারে। Number one, if it is non-acceptance, it means what? Suppose non-acceptance is like that, if a bill of exchange or a check, it is not properly signed. Suppose there is no question of there is no acceptance of the bill of exchange. So certain things is missing. Okay, certain thing is missing. Suppose I'll say the acceptance is not given within 48 hours. Suppose those who are going to make the bill of exchange, there is a fictitious person. The name is fictitious persons are there. So all these are the reasons of non-acceptance, and that is why the negotiable instrument can be dishonored. And in case of non-payment, non-payment is what? Whenever there is an amount, there is a date is going to be complete, we are asking for the amount of money, but there is no question of payment. There is the payment, there is a lack of payment. টাকাটা পেমেন্ট করা হয়নি, বিলটা দেওয়া হয়েছে বাট স্টিল পেমেন্ট করা হয়নি। So these two are the reason for the this reason, the negotiable instrument can be a dishonor of negotiable instrument. Next slide. Now the notice. Notice means what? If there is a dishonor of negotiable instrument, notice should be given. Now, notice কে দেবে? By whom? Notice by whom? Now, in this case, negotiable instrument, non-acceptance, non-payment, whatever may be, a notice should be given. Receiving a notice of dishonor, a party must issue a notice dishonor to other parties, rendering them liable to himself. Those who are liable to himself, everyone, the notice should be served. The purpose of notice dishonor to notify the party of his liability. প্রত্যেককে নোটিফাই করতে হবে তার নিজস্ব লায়াবিলিটি সম্পর্কে। Section 93, Section 94, Section 95, Section 96, all these sections are deals with how you have to give the notice for this dishonor bill. The mode of notice, if the notice is not served, notice by whom you have to serve, to whom you have to serve the notice, all these things should be there in the section 93 to section 95, 96. All these things should be there very clearly. Okay. And if the notice of dishonor is so important that omission to it discharge all the parties other than maker or accept. In fact, other than maker or acceptor, everyone should be, the notice should be served. And in certain cases, an omission, if there is any kind of omission, suppose you are not able to send the notice, there should be certain kind of problems should be there. According to Act, there should be any kind of legal step should be taken. A notice of dishonor can be oral or written. Now, there is an option that notice of dishonor should may be oral, it may be written, but should be given. Next slide. Discharge of instrument. Now, this is a very important, but discharge. What is discharge means what? Amar kache instrument ache, how I can fulfill that negotiable instrument. How I can discharge my liability. Suppose I have to pay some the money. How I will pay? How I can complete my obligations. This is known as discharge of instrument. Discharge means to release from the obligation. As I have told you, I release my obligation. When the negotiable instrument is issued, there is a liability to pay. This means if there is a check, I have to pay. If there is a bill of exchange, if there is a question of promissory note, everything, amount, question of payment. And when the time will come for payment, whenever the discharge is made, payment is complete, this means you discharge the instrument. This is known as discharge of instrument. Next slide. Modes of discharge of NI. NI means negotiable instrument. Either you can cancellation of instrument by payment kore dao, instrument complete, material alteration. If there is any kind of change in the negotiable instrument, there should be a discharge. Okay. So in case of suppose any kind of the term material alteration, it means without any kind of information from other party, I change the clause, automatically it should be cancelled. Operational of law, this means law can give you the yes, you can discharge, you can close the negotiable instrument. The party primarily liable become insolvent. Who is liable to pay become insolvent. There is no question of negotiable instrument. This means automatically it is in this way it can be discharged. Discharge is a simple contract. We make a contract. Yes, we are in further for furthermore we cannot continue with this negotiable instrument. We full stop, make a full stop of it. So these are the way through which you can make the discharge of negotiable instrument. অর্থাৎ তুমি পেমেন্টের মাধ্যমে তোমার নিজের অধিকারটা ত্যাগ করে দিয়ে, অর্থাৎ বা যে ব্যক্তি পেমেন্ট করবে সে যদি ইনসলভেন্ট হয়ে যায় বা দলিল যদি বাতিল করা হয়, সাধারণ চুক্তি করে নিজেদের মধ্যে চুক্তি করে ব্যাপারটাকে সলভ করে নেওয়া যায়, বা যদি কোনো গুরুত্বপূর্ণ বিষয় মানে ম্যাটেরিয়াল অল্টারেশন বদল করা হয়, এই সবগুলোর মাধ্যমে কি করা হয়, হস্তান্তর যোগ্যদের দলিল তার পরিসমাপ্তি ঘটানো যায়, অর্থাৎ ডিসচার্জ করা যায়। নেক্সট স্লাইড। So these are the all abouts of, I hope so I can cover up the, it is not possible to go through everything, but I cover up the main important part of negotiable instrument. Okay, sir, can I continue further 10 minutes?
Yes, you may, you may.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so now we are discussing with Consumer Protection Act. Now, Consumer Protection Act, according to our syllabus, it is the act, but you have to know it nutshell, not in a very big way. Now, see, there is a thing, Jago Grahak Jago. It means what? To protect the consumer. We are the consumer. How we get the protection? To give us the protection, to give us the right. There is the law, there is the act which is enacted. This is known as Consumer Protection Act 1986. That we are going to discuss about. Next slide, please. Now, why this act is needed? It is to provide the better protection, as I have told you just right now, that better protection of consumer. Unlike existing law, there may be some laws are there, but still there is a lot of grievances are there from the point of view of consumer. There is different kind of redressal problems are there. So that is why there should be an act. There should be an act. The act is needed. That is why, to solve all this problem, this is the main objective of this act, that this act is enacted, which is known as negotiable instrument. আমাদের অনেক প্রবলেমস ছিল, অনেক কনজিউমারদের গ্রিভান্সেস ছিল, কনজিউমারদের অনেক প্রবলেমস ছিল। টু সলভ অল দিস প্রবলেম, এই গ্রিভান্সেস গুলো কমাবার জন্য, যাতে কনজিউমাররা আরো বেটার ফিল করতে পারে, তাদের রাইটস গুলো, তাদের অধিকারগুলো তাদের হাতে পৌঁছে দেওয়া যায়, ফর অল দিস থিংস দিস অ্যাক্ট ওয়াজ এনাক্টেড। নেক্সট স্লাইড। Now, definition. I'll just give some definitions. Number one, goods. Because whenever amra consumer can, why we are consumer? Because we are consuming goods. We are consuming services. That is why there is a question of goods. There is a question of consumer protection. Because if we are not going to buy anything, there is no question of protection. Because we need a certain kind of protection. Goods means, from the Sale of Goods Act, that any kind of movable property other than auctionable claim, because there is the other act that from Sale of Goods Act, the definition is given over there. The same thing we can apply it over there. So certain kind of things which it is not any kind of movable property that we are going to make a buy and sell. This is known as good. And service means any kind of description which is made available for the potential user. This is known as services. Because goods and services, these two are the very important part, because we are generally exchanging goods and services. That is why there is a question of consumer protection, protecting consumer. Otherwise, there is no need of protecting consumer. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. To go to next slide. I skip this one. Now, no. Please. Unfair trade practice. Yes. No. After that, see, next slide. Yes, this one. Yes, unfair trade practice. What is this? That is why the consumer protection is needed. Because right now there is means the trade practice which is unfair. Price, there is a high price, misleading informations, there is any kind of the product are not secure for our health, there is a hoarding. So everything is there, offering gifts and prizes, everything is there, but ultimately after that getting this offer and prizes, whatever the goods I'll receive, it is not up to the mark. This is known as unfair trade practices. Yes, it is good. Suppose you know that in case of packaging, if all these things should be recorded, this means tomar jokhon packaging kora hoy, everything, whatever you are going to use, everything should be there, everything should be recorded. But you know one thing, that if there is a green sign, it means it's veg. If there is a red sign, it is non-veg. And if you are giving red sign, sorry, green sign and giving non-veg, it means you are doing unfair trade practice. You are giving certain kind of goods, একটু এমন কিছু goods বিক্রি করছো যেগুলো আমাদের দেহের পক্ষে ক্ষতিকর, which is clearly it is a very hazardous goods for us. This is known as unfair trade practice. And due to this reason, consumer protection is very much important. Because Consumer Protection Act give me that kind of facility that we can stop these unfair trade practices. Next slide, please. Now, what are our rights being a consumer? Right to be informed. I have a right, আমার right আছে, আমি যে জিনিসটা কিনছি জিনিসটার মধ্যে কি কোয়ালিটি, কি কোয়ান্টিটি, কি পিওরিটি, কি স্ট্যান্ডার্ড, কি প্রাইস, এভরিথিং। দেখবে প্রত্যেকটা জিনিস যখন কেনো তার গায়ে প্যাকেজিং এ এভরিথিং লেখা থাকে। রাইট টু অ্যাক্সেস দ্য ভ্যারাইটি অফ গুডস, একই কম্পিটিটিভ প্রাইসে তুমি বিভিন্ন জিনিস কিনতে পারো, ইউ হ্যাভ দিস রাইট। You right to that, you can assure the consumer interest will receive due consideration, that you have this right. If you think that there is any kind of problem, you can ask for the grievance. If you have any kind of grievances, you can seek redressal from the unfair trade practices. This is your right. যদি তোমার মনে হয় যে তোমার কোনো গ্রিভান্সেস থাকে, তুমি যে চাইতে পারো, তার প্রতিকার চাইতে পারো, তোমার সেই রাইটটা আছে। Right to consumer education. As a consumer, you have the education. তুমি নিজের এটা নিজের এডুকেশন বাড়াতে পারো। This means you have the right to know everything. Right to safety. Being a consumer, whatever goods you consume, that should be safe for your health. এটা তোমার রাইট। আমি এমন জিনিস নিচ্ছি যেটা সেফ নয় আমাদের জীবনের ক্ষেত্রে, আমি সেটা ইউজ করব না, সেটা কেউ বিক্রি করতে পারে না। So these are the rights. These are the rights for the consumer. So these six are the very important: right to be informed, right to be assured, right to be heard, right to be seek redressal, right to consumer education, right to safety. These are the rights, very important rights. Next. Who is the consumer? আমি যতক্ষণ বলে গেলাম Consumer Protection Act, I should discuss this one before than that. But who is the consumer? Ultimately, consumer has been defined separately, the goods and services. The goods, a consumer means a person belonging the following categories: one who buys and agrees to buy any kind of goods in case of consideration. This is known as ultimately those who purchase the thing. You should be the consumer. In short, আমরা কি বলতে পারি, যারা আমরা কোনো জিনিস কিনছি, আমরা কনজিউম করছি, তারাই আমরা কনজিউমার। ইন কেস অফ গুডস, যখন আমরা কোনো কিছু ইন রিটার্ন, আমি টাকা দিয়ে কিছু জিনিস কিনছি, আমি তার বদলে কিছু দিচ্ছি, আমি কিছু এক্সপেক্ট করছি, আই উইল টেক দিস কাইন্ড অফ বেনিফিট ফ্রম দিস পার্টিকুলার থিংস, দিস ইজ নোন অ্যাজ কনজিউমার। এই মানুষ, এইগুলো এরাই হচ্ছে কনজিউমার, যারা সেই উদ্দেশ্যে জিনিসটা কিনছে, in case of, in obviously through some consideration. Next. Who can file a complaint? আমি এটা ছেড়ে দিচ্ছি, এটা ছেড়ে দাও। Next. Now, consumer dispute redressal agencies. If as a consumer I have any kind of grievances, where I can go? I have three options. Number one, district forum. Number two, state commission. Number three, national commission. Now, these three are the redressal agencies. If I have any kind of grievances, আমার যদি কোনো grievances থাকে, আমাকে এই এজেন্সি গুলো আমাকে আমার অধিকার ফিরিয়ে দেবে। Number one, district forum. Number two, state commission. Number three, national commission. Now, when I can go for it? আমি কখন যাব ডিস্ট্রিক্টে, কখন যাব ন্যাশনাল, কখন যাব স্টেট, দ্যাট দেয়ার শুড বি সাম কাইন্ড অফ ইয়ার মার্ক, পুরো ইয়ার মার্ক আছে। আই উইল গোইং টু ডিসকাস ওয়ান বাই ওয়ান। প্লিজ নেক্সট স্লাইড। Now, district forum. How it will consist? The composite, each district forum shall be consist a person who is or has been qualified to be a district judge, should be the president. Two other member, দুজন আরো মেম্বার থাকবে, the person's ability, integrity, and standing, adequate knowledge, experience, and shown capacity relating to the economics, law, commerce, and one shall be woman. তার মানে তিনজনের দুজন যে মেম্বার থাকবে তাদের এইসব বিষয় ইকোনমিক্স, ল, কমার্স, অ্যাকাউন্টেন্সি বিষয়ে অনেক জ্ঞান থাকতে হবে এবং এবং সেখানে কি করতে হবে, সেখানে তাদের একজনকে ওম্যান হতে হবে, মহিলা হতে হবে। ওকে, নেক্সট স্লাইড প্লিজ। Now, jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is this means if any kind of grievances which is 20 lakh rupees or less than that, it is the jurisdiction of district forum. Okay, it is a district forum. If the amount, it should be 20, does not exceed the amount of 25. It should be the forum of district forum. Next slide. State commission, a person who has been a judge of high court appointed by the state government by chief justice এটা করবে। Next to other member, again they have a knowledge of this domain, commerce, accountancy, industry, this domain, they have a very good knowledge about this. And obviously, next slide. See the president of the state, of the chairman, secretary of the law department, secretary in charge of the dealing with the consumer affairs, এখান থেকে দুজন, and every member of the state commission hold the office for a term of 5 years up to 65, whichever is earlier. 5 বছর বা 65, তার ইয়ার হবে 65, যেটা earlier, ততদিন সে তার নিজের জায়গায় থাকতে পারবে। And shall not be eligible, whichever is earlier, and shall not be eligible for reappointment. It is a very important part. They are not eligible for the reappointment. Next. Again, the jurisdiction, it should be not exceed 1 crore. 1 কোটি টাকার আগে যা কিছু থাকবে সেগুলো হচ্ছে ন্যাশনাল স্টেট কমিশন। 1 কোটি টাকার বেশি যদি হয়ে যায়, this should be go to national commission. 1 কোটি টাকা অবধি যা কিছু থাকবে, it is under the jurisdiction of state commission. Next. Now, in this case, a person who has been a judge of Supreme Court, দেখো এবারে কি হলো সুপ্রিম কোর্ট, এটা আফটার দ্য কনসালটেশন। এবার কি অ্যাপয়েন্ট করবে সেন্ট্রাল গভর্নমেন্ট, চিফ জাস্টিস অফ দ্য ইন্ডিয়া, যে চিফ জাস্টিস আছে তার সঙ্গে কনসাল্ট করে একজনকে প্রেসিডেন্ট করবেন। 4 মেম্বার, 4 জন মেম্বার থাকবে। এগেন all these member must have the knowledge in the domain of economics, law, commerce, accountancy, all these things. They have a knowledge of it. So this should be the composition of state commission, sorry, national commission. Next slide. The same thing again, see, a person who is a judge of Supreme Court, obviously chairman, the secretary of the department of the legal affairs, secretary of department dealing with the consumer affairs, all these things should be the member. Every member of the national commission, again, the age of 70 years and or 5 years, whichever is earlier, and shall not be reappointment. আগেরটা ছিল কি 5 years and 65, এখানে হচ্ছে 5 years and 70, এবং এরা কিন্তু রিঅ্যাপয়েন্টমেন্ট করতে পারবে না। It is the composition of national commission. Next, and the more than that, 1 কোটি টাকার উপরে যা কিছু হবে, এবং 1 কোটি টাকার উপরে যা কিছু হবে, if it is more than 1 crore, all these things are the jurisdiction of national commission. If there is any kind of judgment which is not up to the mark from the point of view of the consumer, from if the consumer is not happy with the judgment of the national commission, state commission, they can again go to the national commission. So district commission, if you are not happy, you can go to district commission. If you are not happy with the answers for district commission, you have the right that you can go to the state commission. Again, if you are not satisfied with the judgment of state commission, you go to the national commission. And from the point of view of the amount, If it is less than 1 crore, you have to go for the state commission. If it is more than 1 crore, you go for the national commission. Next. I hope so, Anis. There is no, this is my last slide.
Yes.
So these are
Yes,
the
sir, that
basic
was it.
things of these are the basic things of Negotiable Consumer Protection Act. That much, if you go through, well, I hope so, the students can ultimately understood what is all about the Consumer Protection Act. And I'm very much thanks to Shukanna that I face certain kind of problem to sharing my PPTs. Thanks a lot to share my PPT. And
Thank
thank you, KBSSA, to share, to give me a platform that I can share my views with a lot of students. Thank you so much. And if my students is get little bit something from my lecture, it will be a very good things for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The session was really very useful. It was really very interesting. Hope to hear from you again, sir. The session was really very interesting, sir.
Thank you.
So now I would pass on to Bromo, sir, to say the concluding remarks and the vote of thanks.
On behalf of Kolkata Bidhannagar Society for Academic Advancement, first of all, let me like to means I have been given the pleasant task of offering the vote of thanks. So before I go to that, I would like to convey my sincere thanks and gratitude to Professor Gourab Das, Assistant Professor Bidyannagar College, Kolkata, for his insightful and very lucid presentation on business law, especially the Contract Act and various other acts like the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881, especially on the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. Very lucid presentation. Thank you so much, sir. I think the students will be highly benefited by your valuable lecture. And now, on behalf of Kolkata Bidhannagar Society for Academic Advancement, I, being a governing body member, would like to convey my deepest gratitude and sincere thanks to our president, uh, Professor Dr. Deepti Kumar Chakraborty, former head and professor, Department of Commerce, University of Calcutta, and president, Kolkata Bidhannagar Society for Academic Advancement, for being the guiding light and source of inspiration for all our academic endeavors. And I would also like to convey our sincere thanks and gratitude to Professor Pema Lama, uh, Associate Professor, Department of Commerce, University of Calcutta, and Honorable Secretary of our association of our society, Kolkata Bidhannagar Society for Academic and Advancement, for his constant effort, untiring effort, and tireless work and untiring energy for all these academic endeavors which have been his um, which which have been organized entirely by him and his team. So thank you so much, sir. And I would also like to convey our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all our 25 resource persons who over these 12 days, who over this span of 12 days from December 12th to today, December 23rd, have delivered virtual lectures on various topics of accounting, finance, management, and other allied subjects. Special thanks to Professor Shaumo Mukherjee, Dr. Assistant Professor Maharaja Munindra Chandra College, Dr. Vishwajit Pal, Assistant Professor, University of Gourbanga, Malda, Dr. Sushmita Chatterjee, মহারাজা মনীন্দ্র চন্দ্র কলেজ কলকাতা, ডক্টর সুদীপ্ত ঘোষ, মহারানী কাশীশ্বরী কলেজ কলকাতা, ডক্টর সুজয় কুমার ধর, ফ্যাকাল্টি অফ ইকফাই বিজনেস স্কুল কলকাতা, ডক্টর অভিক কুমার মুখার্জি, ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ বর্ধমান, ডক্টর রূপম মুখার্জি, কবি সুকান্ত মহাবিদ্যালয় ভদ্রেশ্বর, ডক্টর রিঙ্কি দাস, কোলাঘাট কমার্স কলেজ আসাম, ডক্টর সৌম্য সাহা, বিবেকানন্দ মিশন মহাবিদ্যালয় হলদিয়া, ডক্টর অমিত মজুমদার, বিজয় কৃষ্ণ গার্লস কলেজ হাওড়া, ডক্টর অলোক গুপ্তা, ঝাড়গ্রাম রাজ কলেজ ঝাড়গ্রাম, প্রফেসর শারদীয় দত্ত, সেন্ট জেভিয়ার্স কলেজ অটোনোমাস কলকাতা, ডক্টর সোমা নাথ, সেন্ট জেভিয়ার্স কলেজ অটোনোমাস কলকাতা, ডক্টর সৌম্যব্রত দাস, নিউ আলিপুর কলেজ কলকাতা, ডক্টর সত্যজিৎ ঘোড়াই, ঝাড়গ্রাম রাজ কলেজ ঝাড়গ্রাম, সিএ শুভায়ন বাসু, আনন্দমোহন কলেজ কলকাতা, প্রফেসর পিঙ্গলা রয় চৌধুরী, তারকেশ্বর ডিগ্রি কলেজ হুগলি, প্রফেসর সুমেধা মজুমদার, লাল বাবা কলেজ ভেলুর, Professor Romit Kumar Roy, St. Xavier's College Autonomous, Kolkata. Dr. Madhumita Dasgupta, Amity University, Kolkata. Dr. Abhijit Kundu, Barakpur Rashtraguru Sanjanath College, Barakpur. Professor Shreya Basu, Scottish Church College, Kolkata. Brahma Chaudhuri, Jhargram Raj College, Jhargram. Dr. Shati Chakraborty, Royal Thimphu College, Bhutan. And Professor Gourab Das, Vidyanagar College, South 24 Parganas, for their valuable and insightful lectures and lucid presentations on various topics of accounting, finance, and other allied subjects. Thank you for their cooperation. Heartfelt thanks on behalf of the society for their cooperation, extending their cooperation, and for their valuable lectures. Now, I also take this opportunity to thank Sukarna, Raunak, and Lopamudra ma'am, our technical expertise, technical team, who have tirelessly worked and given their constant effort for making this lecture series, invited lecture series, a grand success. Thank you. Special thanks to Sukarna, Raunak, and Lopamudra ma'am for being there for all these 12 days and um, organizing this in and helping and extending their cooperation in organizing this lecture series in smooth manner. And I would also like to convey our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the organizing secretary, to our organizing secretary of this 12-day lecture series, Professor Sukhoda Gangopadhyay, Associate Professor, Chittaranjan College, Kolkata, for organizing this virtual lecture series. And special thanks to all our members, annual members, and we also revere our patronage and deepest gratitude to the governing body members of our society, Kolkata Vidyannagar Society for Academic Advancement, for their constant encouragement and support in all our academic endeavors. And I would also like to make an announcement that we will have our valedictory session tomorrow evening. Exact time and the link of the meeting will be shared in our WhatsApp group and also by email later on. So this is an announcement that we would like to make. And thank you, everyone. I also sincerely believe that this virtual lecture series will be highly helpful to all our UG students who will be the real beneficiaries if they have followed this virtual lecture series or if they watch this later on in YouTube, because all the topics of UG SEM 1, SEM 3, and SEM 5 have been covered, and they have been covered in a very lucid manner. So I think they will be highly helpful. And so last but not the least, I would like to thank everyone who have listened to our lecture series in YouTube as well as in the in this Gmail Google Meet platform. So thank you all. Thank you everyone for your valuable patience and presence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brahmoda. Thank you, sir. And special thanks to Sukarna Raunak. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sukarna and Raunak. Thank you, Secretary, sir. Thank you so much.